Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special episode on the podcast. Today, we're going to be predicting, well, kind of, I guess, say predicting, calculating the upcoming season in the Championship. And it's going to be really fun. So, Louis, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Yes, thank you for having me on, Mason. My name's Louis. I'm a podcaster as well. You can find me on Conversational, the podcast. I'm sure that Mason will kindly include a link to that. And you can probably see by my shirt that I'm a Charlton Athletic fan who are newbies to the Championship. And I'm very much looking forward to our season this year. Hopefully we stay up. I think that's what we're going to decide today. And like I say, looking forward to seeing how this table ends up after we've predicted it today, Mason.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting how it ends up in the end.
For sure.
So, I guess before we start, i- if both of us, we either do let's do the three teams that we want to go up, and the three teams that we think will go up, uh,
Okay.
and then we'll see how wrong or right we are at the end. So, yeah, do you want to start? So, shall we start with the start easier first? The three teams that you want to go up.
Yep. Well, we'll start with number one. I'd love to see my beloved Charlton go up, which I don't think, unfortunately, is perhaps as realistic as your number one will be. But I'd love to see Charlton go up. In terms of the other two, I think looking at the list now, who do I like in there? I do like QPR. I always like a London team as a Londoner myself, so we'll go for them in second. And I think for a third, because of the nature of the call, we'll go for Ipswich. They're a nice team to have in the Premier League, and I'm a really big fan of Kieran McKenna. I think what he's done at your club is absolutely remarkable. I remember when we were playing you in League One a few seasons ago, and we had some dramatic results, and now you're coming down from a season in the Premier League that actually was. All told, yes, relegation, but it was a pretty inspiring season, I would say, from Ipswich, given how quickly everyone wrote them off.
Yeah, I think we've done quite well. I do think most of the games we should have got more points. VAR, I like it, but without it. So I'm not I'm okay with being back in the championship because there's no VAR in there, so
Yeah.
it's fine. But yeah, I do think whoever goes up anyway, it's going to be tough, and they have to spend a lot of money to try and stay up.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. And who are your three that you'd like to see go up?
So yeah, obviously it's Switch. Um, I'll say Charlton as well actually because I do quite like them. Um, like a family friend supported them, and I think it was early 2000s they were last in the Premier League as well. So it'd be nice
It's
for
been a
someone
while.
else.
Yeah.
It'll be regardless. I think who we want, I would like someone who hasn't been in the Premier League for a while or who's not just jumping up and down.
Mm.
Um, I'll say them two, and to cause havoc, I'll say Millwall. I don't like Millwall at all, but I feel like when they play West Ham in the Premier League, it's just going to be drama and havoc. And as much as I'd love them to go down, but if they go straight back up, it would just cause a lot of drama.
Yeah, well, as a Charlton fan, I can't agree with that Millwall shout. They're one of our biggest rivals. But you made an interesting point there. I'm just looking down the list. Are there any teams in the Championship that have never been in the Premier League now? I suppose Wrexham and Oxford are maybe the only ones. Am I missing anyone?
Um, I yeah, let's see. No, I think most of them have.
Yeah.
I mean, if being typical and saying when it's revamped called the Premier League, that there's probably more like maybe Coventry.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I would like Stoke actually to go up. I liked Stoke in the Premier League.
Proper Barclays classic team, eh?
Yeah, I remember the good old days with them in the Premier League. I really don't want Sheffield United to go up. They're just boring when they're in the Premier League.
They are, but they almost seem too good for the Championship, don't they? And then not good enough for the Prem. It's a constant cycle.
Mm. Yeah, I think Sheffield Wednesday will probably go down after everything what's happening with them at the moment.
Mm.
Watford got the most probably managers ever.
Yeah, you never know what, I mean, you never ever know what's going to happen with Watford, do you? You know, they could finish anywhere in that table, and you know, you'd almost not be surprised by first. You'd almost not be surprised by 24th. They're just such a strange club. Um, but they have signed an interesting player this summer, Iran Kuda. I don't know if you're familiar with him. They signed him from Bayern. He's only 19, and when went to Bayern, there was quite a bit of hype around him. So I'm really interested to see him in the Championship.
Yeah, I I heard that. It was a good signing.
Mm.
Um, like so, who do you think will go up?
I think it's always hard to look past the parachute payment teams, isn't it? So
Yeah,
you know your Southampton, your Ipswich, and your Leicester. I think of those three, I think Southampton and Ipswich are the most likely. Obviously, Leicester have some off the field issues. I think they're looking at a points deduction, and then they're not quite as stable as Southampton and Ipswich are. Obviously, Southampton have bought in Will Still, which I think is a brilliant appointment. They've lost a few of their bigger players. You know, they've lost Sulemana, Kyle Walker-Peters, Bednarek, but they've brought in a great manager. They're always an up and down club. They've got a good fan base, a bit of stability, and Ipswich kind of similar. You know, you've got a top manager, as I've said already. You've brought in Ashley Young, which I think is a brilliant bit of experience to the squad. I mean, will he start every game? Who knows? But it's definitely experience, and maybe you'll give him a coaching contract at some point. You spent big on a player as well, didn't you? Is it Matusiwa?
yeah, him, yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm intrigued to see what he does. I'm also intrigued to see how you deal with losing your captain and obviously Delap as well. But I think Southampton and Ipswich will be for me probably the automatics, and then the playoffs. I think there's a few teams that are in there. I think we spoke about Sheffield United earlier. They're a top side. I think probably they should have gone up last season. I think they are a better side than Sunderland, or they certainly were last year. But that's the nature of the playoff final. I think as somebody who watched them all of last season as well, I think Birmingham might be one to watch out for.
yeah,
I think they're a top side. So I'm between Sheffield United and Birmingham, but I'll probably settle on Sheffield United because it's a bit of a safer pick.
yeah, yeah. I yeah. Um, if Birmingham were miles ahead of everyone in that league last season.
Mm,
Um, I yeah, I do think that they will have a good. But it depends really with them. Um, I think out of Wrexham, Birmingham, they could be up there, but I don't know. I don't think either of them will go up, but I think they'll be up there and
mm.
thereabouts around the playoffs maybe.
Who
Um,
who are your three that you think are going up? I assume Ipswich and Southampton are two of them.
yeah, them two, and it's hard. I feel like maybe Coventry.
Mm. What's your thoughts on Lampard? Do you think he's a good coach?
He's all right. I think he's better in the Championship than
Mm.
he is in Premier League.
Yeah.
Like, like much better than Wayne Rooney has been in the Championship. I
Did
mean,
you see the clip that came out today at the on the day of recording of Tom Brady behind the scenes when he first came into Birmingham, and he expressed concerns on his first day with Wayne Rooney's lack of work ethic, shall we say?
yeah, I mean Wayne Rooney is just better as the pundit because it's Birmingham, even Derby. I mean, I guess Derby wasn't his fault, but still, I he's got he's got a good record of getting teams relegated on his CV. So,
Which is not what you want.
no, yeah, but yeah, I feel like it's going to be interesting. I don't. I would like Wrexham not to go up again,
Hmm.
and the only reason for that, I want them to feel some sort of like not everyone's going to be happy all the time. Like
Yeah.
they got that three promotions, and they just need Championship's a lot difficult than the other league.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think my boldest prediction is I don't think Wrexham will have that great of a season. I think they might even be looking at closer to the bottom half of the table. I think having watched them a lot of last season, I'm not sure that they're quite as good as people say. I mean, I know they're in talks with Christian Eriksen at the moment, so maybe if they sign a player like that, I mean, they might completely prove me wrong. But at the moment, I'm not too sure. I don't think their coach is that good. I think he's carried by the fact that they spend a lot of money and bring in some big names. But I'll be really interested to see. I think of the whole table, I think Wrexham are probably the hardest to call of everyone. I don't know if you'd agree with that.
Yeah, I
Because everyone else is sort of, you could, see within maybe 10 well, within maybe 5 places or so. But them, I don't know.
so me and Louis are now going to predict the championship table. It's going to be interesting where because we've both done our own tables, so we're going to see where each how different our predictions are.
Well, it's exciting, isn't it? Because I don't know yours and you don't know mine, so we could very much have the complete opposites of tables here. We'll find out as the audience do.
Yeah. So shall we go from the top to bottom or bottom to top?
I think we'll go bottom to top, shall we? Give a bit of drama to the top ones, and I would imagine that we've probably got the same team in the bottom place, if we're being honest.
Yeah. So it's Sheffield Wednesday bottom.
Yeah, Sheffield Wednesday is. To justify that a little bit to all you Sheffield Wednesday fans out there, I'm sure even the Sheffield Wednesday fans would have them bottom. They've got some serious issues, haven't they?
Yeah.
And it's
Some Sheffield Wednesday fans. Yeah. It's a
I,
shame.
I feel for their fans. I mean, Charlton had a similar one, a similar predicament, or at least we thought we'd be in a similar predicament a few years ago with our owners. And it's just when off the field drama comes to these clubs, it can be very hard for the players to perform on the pitch, can't it? And there's lots of rumours of them refusing to play because of their pay. There's rumours of them being expelled from the league. They've lost so many players. They're under a transfer embargo. It doesn't feel like anything's going right for them at the moment, does it, Mason?
No. It's a shame because I did like Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, they're a proper club, old school club. They've been around for centuries now, and they deserve better.
They do. Yeah.
Mm.
So I'll let you go. You go. So who's finishing 23rd?
So 23rd, and this one may come back to bite me because it did for many people last year, but I'm going for Oxford United. Last year certainly everybody predicted Oxford would go down and that they shocked everybody. I think that's a lot of it is down to they have a very, very good manager. But this year, I think, particularly down the bottom end, I think it's going to be even more competitive than last year. I think that it's going to be harder for them to stay up, and I think they've only bought in 3 players, which their squad's not the greatest squad in the league as it is, and I would have, in order for them to get higher up my rankings, I would have had to have seen them bring in a couple more, and maybe they will at the time of after the time of recording, but at the moment, I'm sorry to Oxford, they are probably going to go down.
Okay.
Have you gone for somebody different in 23rd place?
Yeah, I went for Leicester. No, I'm joking. No, I went for Hull City.
Hmm.
I went for Hull City because I feel like this last 2 or 3 seasons they've just been around there and just been. If other teams won it as bad, they probably would have been down already. So, and I feel like their owners aren't the best. They just sack a bit. They're getting a bit like Watford, just to get rid of their managers when they don't need to be gone. Like, especially it all started with, like I said before, like with Liam Rosenior. He was a really good manager, and if Kieran McKenna ever left Ipswich, he would be one of the first choices for me to replace him. Um,
Interesting.
because I feel like he's a really good manager. He's done really well where he is now.
Mm.
Um, I think he's at the club where partly Chelsea own as well.
Is it Strasbourg he's at now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's done well. I think they got Europe last season. So yeah, Hull were there for me.
Yeah, I mean the sacking of Ruben Selles on top of the Rosenior one, a little while earlier. But the Ruben Selles sacking was strange to me because he's clearly a good coach because he's gone to Sheffield United, who are one of the top teams in the division, and I don't understand how a coach can not be good enough for somebody fighting down the bottom end, but can be good enough for somebody who's aiming for the Premier League. It's a strange one to me. I think they'll struggle too.
Yeah. We've got 22nd.
So 22nd, I've got Hull. So I like you think they're going to go down. I've maybe given them a bit more faith in terms of one place higher, but here or there we've largely agreed there. Like you say, similar reasons. They narrowly avoided it in recent years. I think they've made some interesting signings already. Weirdly, they've signed three ex-Charlton players. So they've signed Dylan Phillips, Ajayi, and Famelwo. And to me, those are maybe League One players, if we're being honest. They've signed ex Premier League player Lundstrom, but I mean he's getting on a bit now. It's strange signings. I'm not sure where their transfer strategies come from. Maybe they are just looking through FIFA 20 Charlton lineup and seeing who they can find. But it seems like they've signed a player from Leverkusen as well, Puerta. So I don't know too much about him, but yeah, looking at their signings, I wasn't too impressed. And like I say, they've been struggling the last few years, very same as you, and their problems started really when they sacked Rosenior out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's really weird. Really
Very
weird.
weird. Yeah. And you're 22nd?
So my 22nd, I have one for Charlton.
No.
I went for Charlton because I just don't see the three teams staying up, all three of them, and I have more confidence probably in Wrexham and Birmingham to
Mm,
stay up. And I don't think all three will go down, but I do think it'll be really close. I think saying that they're the third team out like of going down in my prediction. Um, but I don't know. Charlton may prove me wrong. I mean, I want them to prove me wrong. I don't want them to go down, but I just feel like it's going to be very close down there. I feel like you're going to have maybe like 21st maybe to 18th even, all them being really close.
mm.
So yeah,
Well, give me a little while and I'll tell you why you're wrong. When we get to first place and I've got Charlton at number one, then I'll tell you all the amazing things that we're good at.
yeah.
I do think though, I do think that Nathan Jones will love being underestimated. I've seen quite a few people put him in the relegation scrap, and I think he'll relish in that. He'll use that to motivate the troops. But yeah, we'll come to my thoughts on my beloved Charlton shortly, I suppose. So yeah, where are we now? 21st place?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to start this one? I've gone first the last few.
Yeah. So I've gone for Oxford on that one.
Hmm.
Yeah, I feel like they could go down um, for most of the reasons that you said as well. So yeah, I've gone for Oxford.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, Oxford, isn't it? I think they are underestimated quite a bit because when you look at the teams in the Championship, they're probably the smallest club in terms of their history and the size and that sort of thing. So it's very easy to just throw them down the bottom. But they have got a good coach, and I do still think they'll get relegated, despite that being said. So in 21st, I've gone for Stoke.
Oh, so
Yeah, I feel. I think it might be a bit harsh because I think they've got a brilliant manager. I think Mark Robbins has performed really well in the past with Coventry in the Championship. But they've been down there. Um, their signings don't fill me with confidence. They signed Aaron Cresswell from West Ham, who's a good player, but he's getting on a bit now.
yeah, he was good at Ipswich when he was there.
Was he at Ipswich?
Yeah, he started his career at Ipswich.
Did he really? I didn't
Yeah,
know that. How long ago was that? 40 years ago.
yeah, yeah. He was there a few years at the academy. Same with Tyrone Mings for Villa.
Oh, I didn't know
Uh,
Mings as well. That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just it's he's getting on a bit now, and maybe I'm a hypocrite because I'm going to praise some teams for signing experienced players and hit others, but it's a
Mm.
strange signing. They've signed Talovarov from Plymouth. You know, it is what it is. They've signed a Man City youngster, Mabumba, which is interesting to me. I'm going to be keeping an eye on him. But overall, I just think their squad's not quite there yet. I think they've got a top manager who will keep them up. I think that he will keep them up. But I don't think it'll be a season
Mm.
to remember for them.
Yeah, you say Cresswell's getting on. We just signed Ashley Young, who's 40.
Yeah, and funnily enough, I was going to praise you for that because I think Ashley Young's a good signing, but I suppose, Yeah, I suppose the problem is that, you know, if you're down the bottom end and you sign a player who's old, you can say very well, you know, oh, they're old, they're whatever. But if you're at the top end, you can go, oh, great signing, you're bringing experience. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it very much depends on how well you're doing. If your team's playing well, then every signing's a good signing, isn't it?
that's right. That's right.
So, yeah, you went first with that one. So we've got 21st, right, both of us?
Yeah. So you said Stoke for 21st.
Yes, and you said Oxford. So we've got a lot of the similar sort of teams so far, haven't we? It's clear that a lot of these teams are going to be in the same sort of ballpark.
Yeah. So 20th, are we on now?
Yes.
So for 20th, I said Preston.
Yep.
I said Preston because they're always down there, and yeah, uh, most of the teams I've just gone for who are the normal contenders.
Mm,
Um, some I might have gone a bit higher, and I have changed my thoughts a bit. Uh, so I swapped teams around, but Preston, yeah, I feel like Preston are just. I mean, I don't know who the manager is now. I don't know even if Martin O'Neill was not Martin like the former Norwich manager. I don't know if he's still there, but yeah, I just feel like they're just. I don't think they go down, but they'll just be in the same place they normally are.
Yeah, I've gone for the same. I've gone for Preston there as well. So we've got a match. I do know who their manager is. It's Paul Heckingbottom, who is a solid championship coach, I think. I'd like to obviously, you know, just remind people as well that I have no affiliation with Preston, despite my surname. I'm not paid by the club. In fact, I've got a bit of a bone to pick with Preston because they stole one of Charlton's best players in the summer, Thierry Small. So I'm a little bit jealous that they get him for this season. Like you say, though, that you know that they are one of the usual suspects down the bottom, aren't they? But they never seem to go down. I can't remember the last time Preston were in League One. So
They just stay in the championship all the time.
yeah, they're just championship mainstays. They're like Bristol City. They belong there. They live there. They thrive there. And they seem to be content there. But yeah, they've got a good manager. They sold their goalkeeper to Liverpool, didn't they? In a very strange deal.
Or did they?
Yeah, he went there to be third choice or something rather than being first choice at Preston, which is, I don't know, maybe money talks.
Maybe. Yeah.
And they've also the only other thing that I wanted to point out about them this year is they've loaned in Daniel Jebbison from Bournemouth. So I'd be interested to see how he does in the Championship because obviously he's coming from the Premier League and he's a young striker, so that'd be interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah. So have we got 19th next?
19th, yes.
Do you want me to go again, or do you want to go first?
I'll let you go first on this one because I've got a controversial one here,
Okay.
and I'll let you warm your listeners up.
So Blackburn, I've gone for.
Okay.
Um, and I know they were pretty high up last year, but because of them manager's gone, I don't think they're going to be as good this year. I think they could be around mid-table and then just finish a bit lower.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm going to throw in what I think will probably be my most controversial opinion of the video. I've gone for Wrexham next. I don't think they're going to do as well as people say. I think people get excited by them because of the Hollywood factor, because of the names of the signings they make. They tend to make signings that people know of and you know household names certainly in the UK. But for me, I just don't think they're quite as good as people say they are. I watched them quite a lot last year in League One following Charlton, and for me, they weren't that impressive for the bulk of the season. They had a very good run towards the end of the year, but they were fine. They were okay. They were good. They've signed some again as they always do. They've signed some names. They've signed Josh Windass. They've signed Ward. They've signed Cody, who are all good players, good solid championship players, but none of them are young. They're all getting on a little bit. You never know how players, you know, as they go over the hill of 30 and reach that age, you never know how they're going to play. O'Brien is an interesting signing to me, but overall, to me, it's not their most exciting transfer window. I did hear they've approached Christian Eriksen, which would probably massively change my prediction because what a player he would be in the championship. But for now, I'm going to underestimate them and you know stick them in that 19th spot, and we'll see how that goes for them.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, that
You don't
I
agree, do you?
mean, I don't know. I don't think they'll go up all this season. I don't think they go
Mm.
down. But I feel like this season will be a stepping stone for them, and then next season they'll maybe push on a bit more.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I think that their fans have probably got used to being promoted. So I actually think a season of stability in the championship would be good for them.
Yeah, they don't want to go up and then just go back down again. So
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. They need to build on it. So
right,
yeah, we'll see how that prediction turns out.
yeah. So I think we're on 18th now.
Yes.
So 18th, I have gone for Derby.
Ah, interesting. Yeah,
I've
yeah.
gone for Derby. I think they're always around this area since they come back up.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I do like Derby. Um, I was back those years when they was in the final against QPR. I wanted them to win that because they haven't been in the Premier League. So and they are the worst ever team in the Premier League. But yeah, I would like them to be a bit higher, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, fair enough. They've got something about them, Derby, haven't they? That's quite likable. Um,
Yeah.
I personally think anyway. So yeah, it would be nice to see them do well, and they are a big club. They're a proper club. So in 18th, I'm not going to match you because I've gone to show my bias a little bit, perhaps a little bit too high. But I think we can aim for something along these lines. I've gone for Charlton. And I'm going to tell you why all of your statements earlier were wrong because we're the best team in the championship. You said earlier actually that you think Charlton could be anywhere from 22nd to 18th. So I've gone, as a Charlton fan, I've gone for the higher end of that before you even said that. But I think we're a good side. I think we've got one of the best coaches in the league. Nathan Jones is an excellent manager. I think he thrives under pressure. I think he's great in the big games. I think Charlton will surprise some of the big teams in the championship this season. We pick up results against your Southamptons, your Ipswiches, your Leicesters. We were one of the only teams to beat Birmingham last year. I think we live for those sorts of games. He loves a 1-0. I think he's the sort of manager that reminds me of somebody like John Terry or Diego Costa, those sorts of people that you hate when they don't play or manage your team, but you love them when they manage your team. I've never seen a manager, certainly in the last 5 years, or at least since Lee Bowyer, who's been as loved by the Charlton fans and taken in like he was. There was some rocky periods, but we love him at Charlton. We think he's excellent. We've made 8 signings, which is quite a lot. We've spent, I think, almost 12 million. We've signed Charlie Kelman, who was the top scorer in League One last season. So I think we're in a very good position to push on. But ultimately, for us, survival is the goal this season. We're not going to be pushing for playoffs realistically. We need to survive. We've made some top end League One signings from some of the best teams in League One. And I think we're really showing the ambition that these new owners have in Charlton, and hopefully we'll have one or two more signings through the door, and hopefully we'll kick on. I honestly think maybe we could even go higher than 18th, but for now I'm going to try not to let the bias go too far, and I'm going to stick with us in 18th.
Okay. Yeah, you've gone pretty high there, but
Thanks for listening to my TED talk.
yeah. Who knows? Who knows? I think any teams could be anywhere in between the
Mm,
18th and the bottom potentially. Maybe
yeah.
even 22nd. Um, but yeah. So 17th, I've gone for QPR.
Okay.
I think QPR are a really unpredictable team.
Yeah.
Um, like any team that has a really good season could finish anywhere, and yeah, QPR. Yeah, I just feel like they're just sit there mid-table, 17th.
Yeah, they're solid, aren't they? But nothing too exciting at this
Mm.
stage. Yeah. So in 17th, I've gone for fairly similar. I've gone for Portsmouth. I think they ended last season well. Not too sold on any of their signings, if I'm being completely honest. I think they will stay up. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be solid. I think they'll have a fine season. I think they've got a great manager in Mousinho. But yeah, I don't think they're going to be anything to write home about. They've got a decent squad. They'll do fine.
Yeah, yeah, they'll be okay.
Yeah.
So 16th, I've gone for Wrexham.
Okay.
So yeah, I felt I put Wrexham a little bit higher than you did,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I feel Wrexham will be all right. Um, I think Hollywood fame will get them over the line. And yeah, I'll be surprised. You don't know. They might do what they've done, just be at the top again. But yeah, I feel like I don't. Part of me would love them to see them do the four in a row. That'd be brilliant because
Yeah.
no one's done it. But yeah, I don't see them going up again. And yeah, I don't even see any of the teams who come up like from League One going up. But yeah, it'd be nice for them to prove everyone wrong. Because they probably have got written off every season that they've been up. So yeah, it's a bit like Ipswich in a way because no one thought Ipswich would go do the back to back
Mm.
promotions. I
Do you remember the day that you got promoted to the Premier League? What did you do? Just out of interest.
I think I just because I was at the game. I went to the game and then I left early because I knew it was going to be packed and so it was going to be really busy everywhere. So I went home and you saw everyone going mad. It was brilliant. Um, it was really good getting promoted. Probably knew really that would go back down. Our team. It's a bit like if Wrexham went up now, their team's not going to be good enough.
Yeah.
Then like they have all these rules in the Premier League. You can only spend so much,
Mm.
and that's why the relegation teams suffer all the time because like you've got Liverpool spending so much at the moment, and like, teams that come up can't do that. Like you have certain rules, and it's spent most of the money on Championship players, like the best Championship players that you can get, probably ready
Mm.
for the Championship. So yeah, um, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I feel like whenever you get promoted, like even getting promoted to the Championship was really good because we were one of the best teams. Um, and maybe it was a bit lucky in the Championship when we got promoted to the Premier League because no one expected us to do it. We was in between the teams that got relegated that year,
Mm.
like Southampton, and Leeds, and you got Leicester as well, and so, all them. So I was happy that Leeds. I'm happy that we ain't got Leeds in the Championship this season because it was always a rivalry for some reason between between us and them. Um, Probably because we got promoted instead of them. But I do think Leeds could be one of the teams that potentially could stay up this season. Not because of their team, but because of who they are.
Yeah. They're a club with history, and it would just be so nice, wouldn't it, to not have all three promoted teams go straight back down. It's not how it should be.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case. I think Burnley are down, but I do think potentially Sunderland or potentially um, Leeds.
Mm.
Because you've got teams that have lost a lot of players, like Brentford, you've got Wolves. I think maybe be the closest teams, but don't know. But yeah, yeah, I went for Wrexham there.
Yeah, so I'm on 16. I've gone for somebody who you went for just a minute ago. I've gone for Blackburn. I'm not too familiar with some of their signings this season. I know they've signed a few players from the Portuguese and the Belgian league, so not really my area of expertise as a Charlton Athletic and South London fan. We took one of their players off them as well. I think they had a huge loss losing John Eustace. I think he's a top manager. And I think that's gonna affect them because I know it wasn't obviously recently, it was obviously in last season, but I just think
I think they were in the playoffs at the time, wasn't they? When he
yeah,
left, and then he
mm,
just went down and down.
yeah, I think it's a shame. It's a shame for them.
Yeah. So on 15th, I went for Bristol City.
Oh,
I feel like they won't finish as high this year because they've lost a really good manager.
mm.
And they normally finish in that area anyway. So I think it'll be back to normal for them.
Yeah, I think yeah, I'm interested to see them quite relatively low on your list considering they made the playoffs last year. But yeah, I mean your reasoning is it's exact, isn't it? So I've gone for QPR. Similar reasons to you in this sort of area. I mean, a lot of the teams in this sort of area are fairly similar anyway. I think the only reason I've gone for them slightly higher than you is I like some of their attacking signings. I think Poku, who they've signed from Peterborough, is a very interesting signing. I saw him in League One last season, and he's an exciting forward. They've obviously sold Charlie Kelman to us, but I don't think he had many. I don't think he had much stock with the QPR board or fans, so that's not going to make too much of a difference to them. But they're the sort of side that this season they're solid, but they're not going to go down. They're equally probably not going to challenge, if we're being honest, are they?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm.
That's right. So are we on 14 now?
Yes.
So I went for Portsmouth. I think Portsmouth will finish here, or anywhere where we said like it's the same scenario. Anywhere mid-table can finish anywhere. Like, it's really unpredictable, the Championship. So yeah, I think Portsmouth will finish 14th.
Yep. 14th. I've gone for Watford. Um, very, very hard to predict team Watford, so I've sort of gone just as close to the middle as I can really justify. I think they've made an excellent signing in Iran Kuda, who they've signed from Bayern. Only a couple of million, but I mean, he was being talked about as one of the top wonder kids. He's only 19. I think there's still a lot to come from him. I think if there's one thing I have to say about Watford this season in the merry-go-round that is Watford's sort of craziness of ownership, keep an eye out for Iran Kuda because I think he could be a special, special talent. But yeah, I've gone for them in 14th.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so in 13th, I went for Watford.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went for Watford in 13th, pretty much just all the reasons you just said.
There's not much you can really say about Watford, is there? They're just so hard to predict.
No,
Um, so yeah, that's Watford. In 13th, I've gone for Derby. I've gone a little bit higher than you. I think they've got. We've spoken about him already. I think John Eustace is a top manager. I think on the day of recording, they are supposedly closing in on the Ryan Brewster signing. I think he can bring them some goals. They've already spent 6 or 7 million on Adjemang from Charlotte FC in the MLS, who was one of the top players in America last year. I'm really excited to see him. He's one of my sort of ones to watch. We'll see how well he does. They've lost some of their older, more experienced sort of fans' favourites over the summer, like Mendez Lang and players like that in their 30s. I don't think that's going to be a huge loss, but it'll be interesting to see how that affects them and how they replace them with a few, with a little while still to go out the window and with the transfers they've made.
yeah, that will be interesting.
Mm.
Um, so what number are we on now?
12th.
12. So I went with Stoke.
Oh, okay. Quite high.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just like Stoke. A soft spot for them. Um, but yeah, they'll probably be lower, but they are normally around anywhere from there and below. So
Mm.
yeah, I feel like Stoke. It'd be nice for them to push on and be nice. Their manager did really well at Coventry. It'd be nice for him to kick on with Stoke, and just be a bit higher in the table.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of that, to be honest. I think in the championship, more than a lot of leagues, having a top manager is really important, isn't it? Because a lot of these teams, they don't have the budget to go out and spend millions and millions like your Liverpools do in the Premier League. So you really have to rely on a good structure, a good sort of administration, and a good sort of ownership team. And the manager is right at the forefront of that. So yeah, I think having a good manager can really push you up the table. In 12th, I've gone for a team with who I think have got a decent manager, and that is Millwall. I think 12th is probably lower than a lot of people would have them because they do tend to sniff around the playoff places whilst never quite making them. But as a Charlton fan, I would find it hard to place them significantly higher. I'm letting my biases show here. I'm not going to speak too ill of them because their fans are quite scary. They have made some decent signings though. They've bought Coburn in permanently, 6 million. They've bought Alfie Doughty in, who's an ex-Charlton player, so I know how good he is. He was great in the Premier League. There were calls for him to play for England. Last season or the season before. They're always there or thereabouts. I just think aside from the bias, I think other teams around them have strengthened more efficiently than they have. And I just think that perhaps that might just push them down into that mid-table spot rather than closer towards the playoffs.
Hmm. Yeah, I do agree there. So, what was that 11th that you had them?
I had them 12th.
Or 12th?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, 11th I put West Brom.
Okay.
Yeah, like Ryan Mason, I feel like, I don't know, it can go hit or miss with him being going to an actual club. Because West
Mm,
Brom are always around the playoffs. So I've kind of gone from similar reasons that you've said about Millwall about West Brom. I don't. They're always there, but I just think this season you've got the league's more harder this year, and more teams will be around that playoff area. I
mm.
don't think West Brom will have enough.
It's such a competitive league, isn't it? And you know, it feels harsh putting people in 11th or 10th or whatever, but these are good sides. And once you take out, you know, the teams that have been relegated, there's only a few spots that you can really vie for that would mean a successful season. So it's
Yeah.
tricky, isn't it? It's a hard. I personally think it's the hardest league in the world to call. So yeah, thanks for thanks for having me on. In 11th,
Oh,
I've gone for Swansea. I think they've had a great transfer window. I think they've had a really great transfer window. I think they're one of the favourites to sign Kone from Wickham, who's a great player, still only young, one of the top scorers in League One last season. I think they've made an excellent signing in Ethan Galbraith from Leyton Orient, who I wanted Charlton to sign. I'm a bit jealous of that signing. They've spent around 6 million on Inusa, who I don't know too well, but it's big bucks for the Championship. And then they've brought in one of your boys, Cameron Burgess, who I gather is a fairly experienced pair of hands in these sorts of divisions. So, yeah, I think they've made some great signings, and you know, I think they could even go higher than 11th if they really kick on with those signings.
yeah. Like, yeah, I think it'd be nice for Swansea to do well. Imagine if Swansea and Wrexham both go up. Imagine that.
Imagine that, the two Welsh teams in the in
Yeah.
the Premier League, while Cardiff languish in League One. Poor old Cardiff.
Oh yeah, yeah. We like Cardiff for other reasons, but
Mm,
um, but yeah, it's a shame.
yeah.
So I'm 10th now.
10th.
So Middlesbrough I put there.
Okay.
I don't think well, it's a similar reasons to West Brom. They're always there, and they're either there or they're not, and they should have really been there with Michael Carrick. Um, it's just they towards the end of the season don't get the points in. And I think that's where they need to massively improve if they want anything. So I think Middlesbrough will be there, but potentially could squeeze into the playoffs. But it's going to be really hard with the other teams who are fighting up there.
Yeah, so competitive. I've gone for Bristol City in 10th. They had such a strong end to last season. I think that hopefully that momentum will carry on. I know they didn't have the greatest of playoff campaigns, but the regular season they finished really well. To be honest, maybe I have gone a bit high on them, especially after hearing your sort of thoughts on having them a bit lower. But I think they'll drop down to a few places from last season. I don't think it will be too dramatic. Nothing. They're nothing too special at this stage. They belong around that mid sort of table. I'm sorry to Bristol City fans, and they've lost Gardner Hickman as well, who I think was one of their sort of fan favourites. If I know Bristol City, which I don't. But yeah, I think that 10th is maybe a little bit high, but looking at the rest of the teams around them, I think it's probably there or thereabouts.
Yeah, yeah, I understand that. I think it's really unpredictable, isn't it?
Mm,
Um, so with ninth, I've gone with Swansea.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Um, I think they'll just miss out on the playoffs, but they'll have a really good season.
Yeah, yeah, they're good signings, isn't it? And good. I think their fans have got a lot to be excited about.
Yeah.
Ninth, I've gone for Middlesbrough, so you know, fairly similar to you, only one place different. I think Rob Edwards is a really interesting appointment. It was a brave appointment actually, because I think Carrick was quite popular, and he did well with them really. But Rob Edwards is a good coach. He is a good coach. He had his role in Luton's back-to-back relegations, of course, and that will kind of taint his CV. But I do think that I don't think that takes away from the fact that he's a good manager. The players seem to like him wherever he goes. Um, they've signed, I think it's Kante, not the famous N'Golo, but another Kante who is apparently very, very good player. I'm not too familiar. If he's half as good as N'Golo, then Middlesbrough fans are in for a real treat. Their squad's not too different. I mean, I know they've lost Iheanacho and Illing Jr., who were on loan last season, but I think they only scored 2 goals between them, so that's not going to be a huge loss for them. But they're always sniffing for those, playoff spots, and I don't think they'll get them this season, but I think they'll be going for it again for sure.
Definitely. So we're on to eight for now.
Mm,
So I put Millwall.
okay.
So I don't like them, but I feel like last few years they've just been sniffing the just around and just missing out. So I think it'll be the same again this year, and they'll just miss again. So eight for Millwall.
Yeah, it's hard to get out of your head when teams finish in the same sort of areas every year consistently, isn't it? It's hard to get away from that and view it independently. In eighth, I've gone for a team that I think could very well surprise me and go higher. They could also very well surprise me and go lower. I've gone for Norwich. Um, they've spent a fair bit because they've made a fair bit. They've sold Sains and Rowe. I think Sains is going to be a bigger miss for them because Rowe, I believe, was out on loan last season. But they've made some big money from those two, and they look to have spent it well. I mean, they've bought him right from Man City. Diallo, he looks to be a good sort of young winger coming in from Metz at 5 million, and they've spent 8 million as well, which is a hell of a lot in the Championship on a Danish league striker whose name I can't pronounce, so I won't even try. They've also brought in Crystal Palace legend Jeffrey Schlupp, who played about 1 million games for Palace, for a bit of experience. So I think that with those signings made and the players they've lost, I think their whole season could hinge very well on whether Josh Sargent decides to stay at the club. Because I think if he goes, I don't quite know where their goals are going to come from. I think if he stays, they could very well get into the playoffs. I think if he doesn't stay, I think they could slip even further down. But I think for now, he's still there at the time of recording. I think eighth is probably around fair for them.
Yeah, I think Norwich will definitely be around kind of the playoffs a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So seventh, I put with Birmingham. I said they're just going to miss out on the playoffs.
Mm,
It'll be a good season for them. Out of the promoted teams, it might be a shock for them to be this high because they've just gone up, but really they were really unlucky to go down when they went down. So yeah, they showed the championship they kind of bossed it. Um, and yeah, and I think a bit like Ipswich, they'll maybe try and have a promotion kind of push again.
mm,
Maybe not even thinking on those lines, but what I'm hearing from the Birmingham camp at the moment is that's what they're thinking, that they want to go one more and they do want to try and get promoted again. Um, which I wouldn't mind. It'd be nice to see Aston Villa Birmingham again in the Premier League. Be a bit different. I think when they were in the Premier League before, they were very much similar teams and on the same page, but now different ends of the table. So yeah, I feel like Birmingham will just miss out on the playoffs, but they could get in it and they could go higher. So yeah,
Well, you'll notice, of course, that I haven't said Birmingham yet, so we'll give my thoughts when we get to those. For me, seventh and sixth, I debated quite a lot between these two. The team that I've settled on in seventh is Coventry, but they could very well prove me wrong and get into the playoffs quite easily, quite comfortably, actually. I know they've got a lot of people who are really backing them this season. I think Super Frankie Lampard is an excellent manager in the Championship. He's had his issues in the Prem, but I think in the Championship, I think he's a top class manager. I think he's one of the best in the league. I think he's underrated as well because of who he is. I think when you have players who retire and they're big name players, because they're not the best manager in the world like they were the best midfielder in the world, people underrate them. But I think he's better than he gets credit for. He's great with young players. They haven't made too many signings, and I've seen a couple of their fans on social media are quite excited for, is it Kesler Hayden? That he seems to be getting quite a lot of support online. And the other thing to mention is, I think in two of the last 3 seasons they finished fifth. They seem to love finishing fifth. So if they finish fifth again, it would not surprise me. But for now, I'm going to go with seventh. But I think they could reach anywhere up to fourth, even, to be honest, because they are a good side.
okay, okay. So for six, I've gone for Norwich. I don't like to say I've gone for Norwich, but I feel like playoffs again. Um, and yeah, I feel like they'll get the playoffs. I think when we went up to the Premier League, they got in the playoffs that year.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, we don't want them to go up the playoffs because we've gone up. And yeah, it was good they didn't, but I do think they could get in the playoffs, Norwich.
Interesting to see an Ipswich fan put Norwich higher than I did. You got faith in them. Um, in sixth, I've gone for a team that you put quite a bit lower, actually. I've gone for West Brom. And when you were talking about West Brom, you said that it could very much go either way with Ryan Mason, and you've stuck them sort of around mid-table. I'm gonna give them a bit more faith, actually, because I think that Ryan Mason, I don't know what it is. There's not really much to go off, but I've just got a good feeling about him. He's unproven, but I just think I think he's going to do well. I don't really have much basis for that, to be honest. They've made some interesting signings. They've signed Nat Phillips, who I was shocked to find out is still only 28 because it feels like he's been around forever, and I'm pretty sure he's married to one of the Gallagher's daughters or something along those lines. He's a remarkable guy. Obviously, great experience lifting the Champions League and that sort of thing at Liverpool. I think he's going to be key for them. And they've also spent a couple of million on a Norwegian striker. Again, another one whose name I won't even try to pronounce. But I think West Brom, they're always there or thereabouts. They're always in those areas. They're always in those positions. I think you've got a young, fresh, hungry manager who's keen to prove himself. I think they could even go even higher. I think they could really surprise people this year, and I hope they do.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Who knows? West Brom. Uh, it's going to be interesting to how Ryan Mason does.
Mm.
So you put them sixth.
I put them sixth. I think they'll make the playoffs. It's between them and Coventry, but who knows? Maybe everybody will laugh at me when in August next year when we sit there and go West Brom have been relegated.
Yeah.
But
So fifth.
we'll have to do a follow up to this video in August where we react to our predictions.
Yeah, I've got them written here, so
Mm.
we'll have to do that.
Yeah.
So fifth, I've gone for Leicester City. Even if they get a points deduction, I do think they'll still be around. They've got a good team. They've lost Vardy. They haven't really spent much at all on anyone. But they have got a good championship team. And I don't think they go up, but I think they'll be in the playoffs.
Yep. I've got the same. I've got Leicester for exactly the same reasons. No more Vardy. They haven't signed. They've signed Begovic. You know, it's not an exciting signing, is it?
Yeah,
Points deduction will probably decide where they finish. It's a good championship squad, like you say. They've got a decent manager in from QPR, Cifuentes. There's not too much more to say. I don't think they'll go up either. I think you're right.
yeah. But then in fourth, I've gone for Coventry.
Mm,
I feel like Lampard will get him in the playoffs again. If they don't, he'll probably leave. We get the sack
mm.
if he doesn't do that. So yeah, I think Coventry last couple of seasons, they've done really well. Apart from that season when they finished really low. So yeah, I think I would love to see Coventry in the Premier League. Yeah, I think a fourth place would be good for them.
I think it would, yeah. And to be honest with you, I think probably the decision that I've made that is going to leave me tossing and turning the most is not putting Coventry in the playoffs because I think they are a really good side. In fourth, I've gone for one that you'll notice we still haven't mentioned Birmingham, but we are here. I've gone for Birmingham in fourth, and that probably seems really high. But as somebody who watched them quite a lot last year in League One, I think they're a top side. I think the league is going to be very surprised by what Birmingham have to offer. I think they had an absolutely ridiculous team last year in League One, and they've improved it. I think even last year their squad was was a solid championship squad, a mid-table championship squad, and that was in League One. And they've made signings. They've improved that squad. So all I can see is them going up from there. I mean, they've they've just improved it so much. They've got Furuhasi in 9 million, I think, which is one of the biggest signings in the EFL this season. They've bought in Gardner Hickman, who we spoke about earlier. They've bought in Damari Gray, who's an established international for Jamaica. He's come back from Saudi. They've made some top signings. They've got some money for Alfie May, for example. I'm not 100% sold on their manager yet. It's hard to tell with teams like Birmingham how much of it is having a good manager and how much of it is being pumped full of money. But I think we'll find out this season, and I think they're going to do well, and I think they could even go up in the playoffs.
Yeah,
That's my bold prediction.
yeah, I think they'll be up there definitely. Um, yeah, but they won the league for a reason and by a distance. So
By a crazy
yeah,
distance, yeah.
yeah.
Although that said, I'm not sold on Jay Stansfield either. I don't think he's all that.
You can see he was the talk of League One when he went there, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah, and I think last season I actually think his goals tally, considering the team he was in, was actually quite disappointing when you take out penalties. But yeah, anyway, we'll move on to third.
Yeah. So the first Sheffield United, and they're there purely because they finished there last season, and I don't think they go up. I think they miss out again. Um,
Mm,
I don't think they'll get up in the playoffs. Yeah, I just feel like I think if they had Chris Wilder, I might have put them higher. But I just feel like Chris Wilder's only good with Sheffield United. It seems every other club he goes to, he's not good. And the manager that they got now, I've never really heard of him. And I think yeah, and yeah, I think just third for Sheffield United.
so not sold on Ruben Selles then.
No, I mean you'd think them being where they are, and they've gone for a manager who's lower in the
Mm,
league, a bit like I think Leicester as well. They've gone for a manager that's lower in the league.
mm,
Why are they sold on these managers that are quite low in the league? So they haven't gone for like maybe no one else is available, but maybe that's why. But I don't know. I just feel like going for a manager that low. I'm not kind of sold on it. So yeah, it's for the same reasons.
Yeah, I suppose time will tell, and it's good to know that we've got the same top three at least. We obviously don't know what order, but I think those three are the top sides in the league. I've gone for Sheffield United in number three as well. I don't think anyone will be too surprised by that. I think that's where they sort of belong. They've got a good squad for the Championship, a very good squad. They've brought Louis Barry in on loan, who was very, very good in League One last season. I think he's a top player. They sold Vinny Souza, who was one of their best players last season, for some big money actually. But really, Sheffield United, they're one of the Championship's big boys. They've got a good squad. There's only so many times I can say that they have got a very good squad. They have got top three. So for me, these top three teams, they have their squads are significantly better than everyone else in the league. So I think they're going to finish third. Should they have gone up last season? I think so. I think their
Mm.
squad at the end of last season was probably better than Sunderland's. But in a one-off game in the playoff final, anything can happen, and we saw that happen. We see that happen again and again and again. And now Sunderland have strengthened this summer because they've had the opportunity to, and it's more interesting to see Sunderland in the Premier League. I think they need to. They need to. There's some rumours about Hamer staying, Gustavo Hamer. If he stays, they've got every fighting chance. If he doesn't, they probably still have every fighting chance, but he would be a big miss if he left them.
Yeah, that that is partly why sometimes I think the top three should just go up. Um, the top three should go up because like you can get a sixth place finish 20 points or maybe even
Mm,
30 points, say between third, and it's kind of unfair. Like you could just get in the playoffs and then you could have a person in third that just has been in the playoffs all season. So it's a bit unfair, but like I do like the team in six going up
mm,
sometimes because it's a bit of difference. But in a sense, the Premier League, like you just feel like Sunderland. I guess at the start of the window, you could say Sunderland they're 100% going down because their squad isn't equipped for the Premier League at all,
mm.
and they've just got their off the chance. But from what they've done in the transfer market, signing Granit Xhaka, signing players, I mean, I saw an interview by Xhaka, really weird interview about like asking answering random questions. It's like why Sunderland is so special. He's like a great club. Like he knows nothing about
Yeah,
Sunderland.
I think I saw that as well. Yeah. Strange interview. You raise a good point though. I mean, like, how many times when it goes to playoffs do you actually see the team that came third go up? It's not actually that common, is it? You'd think that it'd be every time, but I'd love to know the statistics on how often the third place team actually does go up because it doesn't seem to happen that often. It didn't happen in the Championship last season, didn't happen in League One last season,
It
but
did with the top three, I think, because it was the year we went up. I think we
mm,
came second, and then Plymouth came up with us, and then I think Sheffield Wednesday ended up finishing third, and they ended up winning the playoffs in third.
mm,
So it's really, I do think though, the third place do deserve it, uh, unless like they are like within like miles away. But sometimes you just miss out by 1 or 2 points, and then fifth or sixth place are just there. Um, so yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that happens, but it's for the money. Isn't it?
it is, yeah. Yeah. Well, we're past the playoff point now. We're on to automatics, aren't we? Which is exciting, and
Yeah,
we've both got the same two teams. I wonder which way yours is going to go.
yeah, yeah. Obviously, I've gone for Southampton second, Ipswich first. Um, I feel like, and you could say you would think with Southampton's season last year, you think why are we putting them there? Like, they were nearly got the worst ever points in the Premier League, and they went down. You could have said they would go down at Christmas. So why have we put them so high? And I just still think their team, they sold players, but they've also recruited well. The manager, you could say he's unproven because he hasn't really managed in Championship before. But what he's done abroad, he's done really good. So I feel like Southampton will be up there. I'll be surprised if they're not. It's going to be a bit different for the last time it switched to Hampton and Leicester in the Championship because it's changed. And also Leicester, I don't think it'll be as good.
Mm,
Um, because they were really good the last time in the Championship, and then I don't think they will be as much. So
yeah.
yeah, I've gone for them.
Yeah, well, I've gone for the same two teams. It's very hard to look past the parachute payment teams when you're looking at the top end, isn't it? It's we could sit here and talk about that for hours, but I've actually gone for the opposite way around. Sorry to say to you as an Ipswich fan. I, part of the reason for that is Will Still. I'm very, very excited to see Will Still managing in England. I think that's probably the thing I'm most excited about seeing, aside from Charlton in the Championship next season. They've lost some big players. They've lost Kyle Walker-Peters, Bednarek, players who've been there for a long time, Onuachu. But they've also, like you said, they've brought in some big players. They paid over 10 million for a couple of players, Downs and Quarshie from the Bundesliga. So it's always interesting to see how players like that perform. And for me, it's Will Still. They've still got a good team, but it's Will Still that is exciting me. I'm excited to see how he does. He's had a lot of hype. He's gone viral and all sorts, but I'm excited to see how he copes with a team that is still fairly solid. If you look online and type in the top players in the Championship, the vast majority of them are going to be from Southampton and Ipswich. So they've still got a very good squad, despite how poorly they performed in the league last season. Ipswich, I want to talk about them a bit as well, just very briefly, because I have got them second, just because I think they've got a top manager as well. McKenna is so likable. He's such a good coach. He's got everything that you'd want as a fan of a club. Again, a parachute payment team. They've recruited well. We spoke earlier about old players, but you've brought in Ashley Young. He's an experienced player. Who knows? He'll probably go on to coach for you or something at the end of this contract. You've spent big on, is it Matisuwa that we spoke about,
Yeah.
who I'm not too familiar with, but a big money signing. There's got to be something there that they're seeing. You have lost some big players, Delap, and obviously your captain Morsey. I'd be interested to see how you deal with that, but I do still think you've got a very, very strong squad for the Championship. And that's the problem with those teams, like Ipswich, Southampton. Your squads are too good for the Championship, but just not good enough for the Premier League. So where do you
Yeah.
sit? Maybe we make a mini league in the middle.
That's what it needs to be, don't they? Like you just saying that in the mini league, it gives everyone else a bit more chance. Um, but yeah, I think it's gonna be really close. I feel like Ipswich. We don't, I don't think we haven't really replaced Morty yet. We're still waiting on Hackney from Middlesbrough. Apparently, he does want a Premier League move, so I think it's just waiting on him. Um, we're trying to get a Juice back from he was on loan for us last season, Premier League. So we're trying to get him on loan again. And then a striker. I think George Hurst was Dazat's backup last season, and he
Mm.
gets injured quite a bit. So I think we need a striker just to challenge him. I think.
Well, you've got a bit of money, haven't you? Obviously, from the parachute payments, from the Delap sale. So hopefully, you'll be able to, find someone who fits the team.
Yeah, yeah. And we've got like four goalies.
Too many goalies.
Yeah, we signed a
Sell some of
goalie for
them.
experience.
Mm.
I think when it gets get rid of one on loan and one um just sell them. But we got really good wide players. We got Amari Hutchinson staying by the looks
He's
of
staying.
things.
Is he staying?
He's back in training and has been training with Ashley Young. So I imagine it would be smart for him to stay because I think the only club looking at him is Brentford, and really Brentford have lost too much, and
Mm.
they've got an unproven manager in the Premier
Yeah.
League as well. So, and they'll probably be fighting relegation. You'd rather be in a team fighting promotion than fighting relegation. So, I would, I would say he's staying. But even if he did go, we wouldn't need a backup for a winger because we've got enough.
Do you know who Hutchinson's first academy team was?
Yeah, it's Arsenal.
It was Charlton.
Or was it Charlton?
It was, yeah. I don't think it officially counts because he was about 7 or something like that. But yeah, they like to claim him down at the Valley.
Yeah. So Charlton, Arsenal, Chelsea,
Yeah,
Ipswich.
yeah. Good player, top player.
Yeah, I watched him in the Euros. He's done really well.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so that's our prediction. So
that's
we've
our
done it.
list.
We've done it. But yeah, I'm very happy that we got to do it, and yeah, got us talking.
Should we do a quick summary to close up of who's going down for each of us and who's getting playoffs and going up?
Yeah, sure.
So for me, I have Sheffield Wednesday, Oxford United, and Hull City to go down. I have West Brom, Leicester, Birmingham, and Sheffield United to make the playoffs, and Ipswich and Southampton to go up automatically.
There you go. Then I've got Sheffield Wednesday, Hull, and Charlton to go down in the playoffs. Norwich, Leicester, Coventry, Sheffield United, and Southampton, Ipswich to go up.
Awesome.
Yeah. So to anyone watching and listening, we hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Um, tune back in next week when there will be a Premier League episode predicting Premier League table. Um, so yeah, it's really good fun, and thank you to Louis for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I've had a great time.